All right, let's get to it. It is good to be back. I've been very impatiently waiting for tonight. I've missed this game, despite what you might see from what's happened in front of us. I listen, when things go off the rails, that's just as fun as when things go well. All right, so let's do this thing. Um, So, Lonely Fruit. During the settlement phase, you may consume to archive this to Lonely Lady. Let's do that. The Lonely Lady. So, we're going to say Marco is the one that consumed the fruit. The survivor paused in the darkness, crippled by an unknown feeling of loss. Their eyes swelled with inexplicable tears, a hole opened in their heart. A warm hand slipped into the survivors. Looking up, they saw something they never expected. Although the survivor could not understand the stranger's words, they saw the truth in the stranger's eyes. They felt an identical hole in the stranger's heart. The survivor wanted nothing more than to protect her. Hand in hand, they returned to the settlement. Lying in each other's embrace, they felt the warmth of love fill their hearts and wrap around them. Together, they dreamed a perfect dream. They dreamed of the future. They dreamed of fulfillment. They dreamed of a life together. When the dream ended, the stranger awoke with a cry. The stranger's stomach was full, and she was alone. She felt something she did not want to accept, something she would forget over and over again. The hole in her heart could never be filled. There was no love for her, only hunger. The survivor that consumed the lonely fruit is dead. Survivors must depart this year for a special showdown with the lonely tree. So there actually is a mini for the lonely lady, which now I can do thanks to the fancy thing. Where is she? The lonely lady. She pretty. So basically, in the dream, um, the tree, part of the tree, the lonely lady is part of the tree, and while she gets to bond and have and share a moment with a survivor, ultimately she ends up consuming the survivor. So the survivor that consumed the fruit is themselves consumed, and the tree stands tall. There was once a woman who loved a sad man with a hole in his heart. The harder she tried to fill it, the more drained she felt. When there was nothing left of her, she killed herself under an old tree and let its roots drink her blood. Soon after, the sad man disappeared from the settlement. The tree bore a tear-shaped fruit. So let's set this up. Setup, Showdown, level 1, confirm. All right, we got some grass. That's nice. I don't think that's going to matter for this fight, but okay. Let's just chuck some grass around. And I have no idea what this fight is like. As far as I know, it's... Oh, no, the grass goes in those very specific spots. Okay. So let's just redo the setup again. I thought that was a random terrain card. Nope. There we go. Get that back in its right spots. All right. So we have 4 tall grass terrain tiles set up in green spaces. Tiles cannot be activated. Okay, so you can hide in it, but you can stand in it, but you can't hide in it. Got it. Place Nemesis at the center board. Place survivors on any of the blue spaces. The tree is waiting for you. Survivors go first. I need to get some stats in here. So wounds, it's got 10 cards in its deck, so it's got 11 wounds. It does not have movement. A toughness of 10. Oh, we're screwed. And a -1 damage. Interesting. And then what are these things? Bear fruit. At the start of the showdown, hang all 6 nightmare fruit on the lonely tree. When a fruit is removed from the showdown board, place it back on the tree. Well, that's a little difficult to do in the digital format, so the fruits are hanging out over there. Bear fruit. Take a fruit from the lonely tree and place it where instructed. If all 6 fruits are already on the showdown board, reshuffle the hit location deck and place the trap on top. That's not good. Impenetrable trunk. The monster may only be critically wounded by axes. Well, I will have you know, we do not have any axes. God damn it. And Nightmare Fruit trait. The Nightmare Fruit miniatures are impassable terrain that occupy 1 space. They have the following rules. You can spend an action to diffuse the fruit. All fruit on the board explode. Oh, that would be bad. This fruit explodes. That would also be bad. You may move the fruit to any unoccupied space adjacent to it. Okay, well, I have no idea how this fight works whatsoever. So we're just gonna... Oh yeah, forgot to say who's joining us. A bunch of nobodies. We have Lena as our shield-using tank. We have Agnes as our evasive tank. We got our boy Darren. Hilda came along, or what's left of Hilda. And finally, we have Barry as our Bone Darts user. We do get to go first. Wisdom Potion does exist, so we get to see what this top card is before we do anything. Ripened fruit is knocked loose. The lonely tree bears fruit in an unoccupied space as close to the attacker as possible. Cool. Well, I don't know what any of that means, so we're just going to learn by doing, and we'll start off with Barry. Barry misses. Hilda hat, yes. Well, let's see what Darren can do. I also don't think the tree has a blind spot because it's a tree. It does have a blind. That's the butcher, you dummy. Yeah, the tree does not have a blind spot because it's a tree. So we are hitting on a 6 with the rib blade. Not happening. Lena, why don't you give it a shot? Might as well Bone Blade, because I don't think the shield is going to get us very far here. Cool. Agnes, can you do something? Hey, we got 2 hits. All right, so we get to see another hit location. The fruit closest to the attacker explodes. All right, so we should do this one first because there's no fruit on the board. And reminder, critical wounds don't matter because we don't have axes. That is a very cool rule and something I will definitely keep in mind for future campaigns. But we're not going to get anything out of that this time around. All right, so Agnes has 2 strength on her blade, 1 strength on her body, so we need 7 to wound. Oh boy. We wound. All right, and the wound stack is working correctly this time around. Good to know. And then same thing here, looking for that 7. No. So we get to bear fruit. So put a fruit, unoccupied space next to the attacker. Got it. And now we get to see what the tree does. There doesn't look like there's 10 cards in this deck. So the hit location deck must be massive. All right, closest threat could be anybody. This attack gains +1 damage for each nightmare fruit on the showdown board. Okay. If survivor is not adjacent to another survivor, they gain the flower funnel survivor. What the heck is that? Well, it's not going to matter because we're adjacent to other survivors. All right, so we want to be... Oh, boy. All right, so... What is flower funnel? Let's start with that. Oh, well, that's not how that... Sorry. Still learning how to use this new thing. Let's grab one of those and see what it does. When you gain this, suffer 2 brain damage. Okay. Okay. So we don't want that. So it looks like we want to make sure we stay bunched together. So Barry, your butt's getting up there too. I mean, there are worse people to bring along, right? So, what's actually really fun. Hopefully soon we will be getting the Gambler's Chest expansion in the simulator. It's taking a while. 1, it's a massive expansion. 2, there's a lot of new rules and new stuff they've got to kind of figure out how to program in. Not just like cards and whatnot, but like literal functionality. Like there's an encounter, like there's certain situations where you literally have to draw a card off the bottom of the deck. That functionality does not currently exist into the game. So that stuff like that still has to be worked on and perfected. But the main draw of the Gambler's Chest is your survivors are what are known as arc survivors. They have like a special spark of creativity that our normal survivors don't have. And each survivor gains what's known as a philosophy. It replaces the age table for when they're leveling up, gives them fancy new abilities, upsides, downsides. Well, there is a philosophy known as, I believe it's literally just called murderism. And the way you level it up is by just killing off people in your settlements. It's wild. So that's something that it's going to be something interesting to look forward to. But before that, now that I'm thinking of it, we actually have the next wave of regular expansions that are going to be hitting the simulator very soon. They've said programming is already complete on them. They are good to go. They literally just have to press the button to turn them on. The only reason they have not done so yet is they're still waiting for the Kickstarter backers and pre-orders. People who got it in real life to receive theirs. They want to wait for the shipping and fulfillment for the early supporters to get theirs. But once those are in the hands of the people who have been supporting this game for 15 years now, we will have it here in the simulator. I don't know how much of it is immediately in the simulator. I know 2 things definitely are. 2 new Nemesis encounters. Replacing the Butcher is the Pariah. Very interesting fight. But replacing the Tier 2 Nemesis is something I've been looking forward to for ages, and that is the Red Witches. So please look forward to that. So whenever those hit, like whatever campaign we're on, we're literally going to start over and just add those guys in. Because I really want to play the Red Witches. Pariah, we'll get to him at some point. But Red Witches just looks so much fun. But I digress. Let's handle this. Okay, closest threat could be anybody, so we will pick Agnes. That seems appropriate. +1 damage for each nightmare fruit. Okay, so 3 speed, hitting on 6s. No hits. Nice. Okay. That was a little scary because that would have dealt a lot of damage. Holy crap. Okay. And that's it. It's so... There's no crazy shit going on. We're not drawing 14 cards like the Butcher. So back around to our turn. So we get to look at what this is. Tree discreetly bears fruit in an occupied space. Attacker. All right. So we definitely want to work on getting these fruits out of here. Wow. This is awesome. Definitely got to bring some axes. All right. But blowing up the fruits is also bad. So the only way we get... Okay, well, there's plenty of ways to get fruits off the board. The only way we get fruit off the board without killing ourselves is rolling a 10. So maybe we wait. I don't know. I have no idea. But I do know Barry cannot be out on his own because bad things happen apparently if you're separated, which thematically makes sense. You know, the tree is lonely. It's punishing people who are themselves separated from their companions. I love that. Barry, look for that 7, huh? Oh, okay, perfect hit. That's nice. All right, so we get another fruit. So there is a point where, because we definitely want to make sure, because if all the fruit are out, that's bad, right? Yeah, so we never want to get to a point where all 6 fruit are out. We got to try and manage that. Okay. So 3, 4, wounding on a 6. Nice. That would have crit because he has +1 luck, but can't do that. Reflex, the attacker flipped it. Oh, wow. Okay, so knockback set. Oh, what happens? Interesting, interesting. So these are impassable terrain. Where are we? There we are. So he will suffer collision. Okay, learning. So he'll be knocked down, and he's going to take 1 damage to his body. Learning things. Learning things is fun. Like this is interesting to me because while I don't have a ton of experience fighting all of these monsters, I've at least seen them fought. So I have an understanding of what they do, right? I've never fought, you know, the Flower Knight in my real life games. I own the Flower Knight, haven't gotten around to it. But I've seen the Flower Knight fought, so I know how the Flower Knight works. I've never even seen the tree. So this is all new to me. Which is why it's probably good that we're doing this on a dead campaign. Survivor adjacent to the attacker may spend 1 turn to destroy the threat. Oh, that's cool. Place an acanthus plant terrain tile in the attacker's space, then place the attacker in the tall grass terrain furthest from them to gain 1 bleeding token from being pulled through the ground. Interesting. Well, I don't want that to happen. So I'll definitely do that when we get around to it. I also forgot Barry got a bleed. Bleed and Barry. So who's up next? Let's just keep in the same order we did before with Darren. Was it a 6? Good job, Darren. Not too interested in killing trees, more interested in killing people. Lena. That's a hit. So this happens. So we want to spend a survival to cancel that reflex. We will have Agnes do it. See if she gets it back. She does not. What do we need to wound here? A 7 to wound. Nope. Before we do that, we get to look here. That's interesting. All right. 6s, not happening. All right, we're not dealing a ton of damage, but let's keep seeing what we got here. Blood Lure. Monster bears fruit adjacent to the survivor furthest from the tree. So that's going to be berry. Each survivor rolls 2d10 and moves that many spaces towards the fruit. After everyone has moved, the fruit explodes. All survivors within 3 spaces of the fruit suffer... Oh! Okay. So... Sure. Okay. So, I mean, nobody can really move closer because they're already all huddled in. Everybody's within 3 spaces. So they're all going to take 6 damage and knock back 5. Oh, my God. All right. All right. All right. I see how it is. So we'll start with Lena, I guess. She'll take 6 damage to the head. Are you kidding me? Can't even dodge it because it's not an attack. All right, so that's a severe... Oh, jeez. So she's knocked down. Is it knockback 5? Knockback 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. This is going to be interesting. With a big old 3, that would kill her. So she's going to use her lifetime reroll. And a big old 1. Awesome. Just gets exploded out of existence. That's the wrong person. That was... Well, I guess we had to do it in that order. That's Darren, because otherwise they're going to run into each other. All right, so Darren's dead. Cool. Our only damage dealer. Oh, God. Everybody else is just going to smash... Well, no. These two can go out this way. Agnes is going to smash into the tree. So now we'll do Lena. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Knock down. Her damage is to the hands. This may surprise you. That's going to be severe injury. All right, so note to self. Don't mess with the tree this early in a campaign. Holy crap. That's also going to be a death. So let's use her. Oh, she's already used her lifetime reroll. All right. All right, so Darren's dead and has used his reroll. Oh, no, that was that? Yeah, that was Lena. So Lena still has her reroll. Three, that's survivable. Gain 2 bleeding tokens. Now Barry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoops. Barry, get it together, bud. To the waist. The 6. Destroyed genitals. Cannot be nominated for the intimacy story event. This injury is permanent. Gain a random disorder. You're knocked down. Gazing upwards, you wonder at the futility of your struggle. Gain +3 understanding and 1 bleed. Okay, that's a lot of things. +3 +3 insanity. Okay. Bleed token and a random disorder. Absence seizures. First time you would suffer a brain trauma each showdown, you're instead knocked down and forget a fighting art. All right. And lastly, Agnes. So Agnes is also going to collide with the tree. So a couple of things. 6 damage to her head. That's great. And also going to suffer 1 damage to her body. So severe injury on the head. 9. All right. Shattered jaw. You drink your meat through a straw. You can no longer consume or be affected by events requiring you to consume. Can no longer encourage. Injury is permanent. Gain a bleed. All right. So just remember, can't do that anymore. Gain a bleed. So background of the survivor's turn. Everybody's knocked down, which brings us back around to the monster's turn. Blood growth. A random survivor gains 1 bleeding token. Lonely Tree bears fruit adjacent to each survivor with at least... Oh my god, this is brutal. All right, so bleeding token goes to... Well, Darren's dead. It's going to go to Agnes. Everybody has bleeding tokens, so we're going to put out 3 more fruits. Nope. That's wild. And now we do a basic action. There is no closest threat. Closest survivor is going to be Agnes. +1 damage for each fruit. That's 1, 2, 3. Or no, this fruit's gone because it exploded. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is going to be a 6 damage attack. Hitting on 6s. 2 hits. We could dodge one of them. Arms and legs. I mean, it doesn't really matter, does it? We'll dodge the legs since they haven't taken any damage yet, and we'll get another severe injury on the arms. That's a 1. Agnes is dead. This fight is insane. And we bear a fruit. All right, so we got to start doing something about these fruits. Luckily, everybody stands up. And by everybody, I mean these 2. So probably should just take care of the fruits. So Lena, why don't you blow up your fruit with a 7? All right, we get to just move the fruit. It's better than nothing. Barry, also with a 7. This is where you really need Surge. My God. Like, that's literally all we can do this turn. We're going to be very screwed very soon. Crack skulls. All survivors that are adjacent to another survivor. So do we want to be close together or not? All survivors that are adjacent to another survivor suffer 2 damage to the head hit location. Back and knock back 5. Directly away from each other. Oh my God. All right, so that's Lena. That's a severe injury for Lena. Heavy injury for Barry. All right, not bad. Destroyed tooth. She doesn't have any courage. Knocked down. All right, well, she's going to be knocked down anyway. So it's knockback 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then basic. All right, we're never fighting the stupid freaking tree again. Holy crap. Bears fruit. All right, well, we're in big trouble real soon. And basic action. Closest survivor is going to be Lena. So I'm assuming the tree just attacks at range, right? New record. New record. 2 PKs. Because it's just like whipping around with vines and stuff. Because it doesn't say range. But also doesn't say anything about being in range. So I think it just happens. Like it's been whipping us all around the board. All right, well, at least Lena has a little bit of survivability. So hit on 5s. That's 3 hits for 1,000,000 damage each. We're going to dodge one of them, because why not? Hand, leg, waist. I guess we'll dodge the waist. Take severes to the hands and the legs. With a 2 on the hand, and I'm pretty sure she's already used her reroll. Rip Lena. Like, this wasn't even a fight. This was an absolute massacre. A tree bears fruit, but all the fruit are out. So reshuffle the hit location deck and place the trap on top. Well, that's fun. Let's go find the trap. It's really cool artwork, though. All right, so you come out. We know what that is. Might not even live that long. So we get around to the survivor's turn. Barry can't do anything. Alright, so back to the tree. Grass whistle. Oh, it's a mood. This is nice. When this comes into play, all survivors not adjacent to another survivor suffer knockback 7. The vegetation makes a high-pitched, distracting noise. While this is in play, the monster gains +1 evasion. Why not? Just for fun, let's grab one of those. Now Barry gets to stand up. I can't do anything. Yeah, sure. Stand in the grass. Get an extra 2 evasion. All right, what's next? Bladed leaf tornado. The vines around the tree begin to swirl, picking up dead leaves and debris. Each survivor in the tornado zone, thankfully not Barry, suffers 5 damage. This thing is insane. All right, so basically nothing happens. Barry gets to take another turn. Is he in range? Let's just see what happens. Hits the trap. I just want to see what this does. All fruit on the Showdown board explode. All survivors adjacent to a nightmare fruit miniature. Okay, so that's fine. All survivors adjacent to the lonely tree suffer knockback 7. That's fine. Attacker gains the flower funnel status card. All right. So good news. All the fruit are gone. And Barry gets this thing. What does this do again? You gain it, suffer 2 brain damage. Neat. Weird funnel-shaped flowers sprout along your spine. They vaporize your blood, which is inhaled by the surrounding plants. Whenever you spend movement, gain a bleed. Bleeding tokens cannot be removed. An adjacent survivor may spend an action to rip the flowers out of your back. Okay. Okay. Well, that was Barry's turn. Good job, Barry. Bladed Leaf. Obviously, it's Barry. Good news. No extra damage. Still 2 hits, though. So 2 damage each to the body and head. Probably dodge the head. That's the smartest thing we can do. That will be a severe injury on the body, though. With a 9. -1 movement and a bleed. Oh, Barry's just going to bleed to death. Because this also gives him a bleed. All right, Barry, I need you to do 9 wounds without taking any damage. I just realized I completely forgot. The tree has -1 damage. Yay. So all those attacks dealing 6 damage would only deal 5 instead. I think technically that means whatever. Barry, throw your stupid dart. Hey, you hit, Barry. Oh, this thing again. So Barry's just dead from bleed. All right. I mean, we can go through the motions, but he's going to get a bleed token. That fight is wild. Holy shit. I figured that would at least take like a little bit of time. Like, oh, let's see what this guy does. Let's draw some cards. Nah, just TPK in like 20 minutes. All right, so we're never touching that stupid tree again. Oh my god. It's still cool having the tree in the campaign because it still does stuff like... But yeah, you don't fight that tree unless you are decked out in gear. All right. Lesson learned, friends. Lesson learned. So, decision time. We're going to run back this campaign. The only thing I'm going to change is I'm going to swap out the Lion Knight for Slenderman. Because we're never fighting the Kingsman again. The Kingsman can fuck off forever. I would still like to do the Lion Knight at some point, but he's just going to sit on the shelf for a while because he's awkward. Shows up in Lantern Year 6. It just shows up. The first fight is in Lantern Year 8. Second fight is in Lantern Year 12. Because I really don't like the way that his level 3 overlaps with the level 2 Butcher. Which means we would move one of them to Lantern Year 17. But that's essentially 2 years in a row without a proper hunt. Like, of a quarry. That's 2 years in a row of not gaining resources, which I feel is very bad. Otherwise, we're going to run it back as is. We're going to keep the Gorm because I would like to get. I'm very frustrated that we didn't make anything. All we made was the rib bone, and we got the wisdom potion, which was cool. But I really wanted to make that axe, so I'm going to try and make that axe next time around. Otherwise, do we keep the butcher? Let's mix it up. Let's send the butcher out and bring in Manhunter. So we haven't seen Manhunter yet. Manhunter's cool. If you like professional wrestling, and I do, you will like the Manhunter. That's all I'll say. We'll see him soon. Otherwise, keeping the Gorm, we're keeping the Flower Knight, we're keeping the Phoenix. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. Because here's the thing, we're gonna end this campaign early. Like this is gonna be like an interlude campaign. Well, we'll see. We'll see how we're feeling about it. Because like I said, what we might end up doing is just swapping out Slenderman for Red Witches. Because I really want to do Red Witches. That's probably what we'll do. Because I doubt we'll get to Slenderman before the Red Witches are released. So I think that's the play. And then Pariah, we'll bring in Pariah at another point. So yeah, next campaign, Gorm, Flower Knight, Phoenix, Manhunter, Slenderman / Red Witches, and then we still haven't seen the hand either. Like I've seen the hand, but you guys haven't seen the hand. This is wild. I still can't believe that was a level 1 encounter. All right, so I was a little short tonight, but that's what 2 TPKs will do to you. So we're going to wrap it up there. So thank you, everybody, for watching, tuning in. For my Twitch friends, if you would like to catch up on anything you've missed, you can find it over on the YouTube channel. All VODs go up there usually within a day or two of the stream. And then for folks over on YouTube, if you check down in the description below, you will get a link to the Twitch channel where, fingers crossed, at least for the next several weeks, we will be live on Twitch every Friday evening. Of course, end of October, Halloween's happening, so probably going to have some stuff going on those weeks. See how things go there. Otherwise, I think that's everything. So everybody, thank you very much for watching. It was absolutely fantastic to be back. I missed this game. I missed y'all so much. But I'm definitely a little rusty, as we saw tonight. Although I don't know if any amount of freshness would have prevented this couple of disasters that we saw. But that's it for me, y'all. Thank you very much for showing up, and I'll see you guys next week.